I've been analyzing the career trajectories of top-tier professionals lately, and well, I found a disturbing pattern. The person who never says no is almost always the first person to be passed over for a promotion. Hey there. You see, I've been doing some deep dive detective work on why so many of us, especially high-achieving women, hit a glass ceiling despite being the hardest workers in the room. I'm opening the folder today on a silent career killer, something that feels like a virtue, but honestly, it acts like a curse. By the end of this analysis, you'll see why your reliability is actually the evidence used against you in the boardroom. When I look at these case files, the paradox becomes clear. We've been taught since grade school that being the reliable one is the ultimate professional gold star, right? But in the world of high performance, reliability often translates to being part of the infrastructure. Think about it for a second. You don't celebrate the pipes in your walls until they burst. You just expect them to work. When you're the one who always picks up the slack, handles the difficult clients, and stays late to polish a presentation someone else botched, well, you're not proving your leadership. You're proving your utility. I've noticed that while you're busy being the engine that keeps the ship moving, the people getting promoted are the ones standing on the deck, looking at the horizon. They are reliable in the sense that they do the grunt work. They are valuable because they focus on strategy. This is the high performer's paradox. The more indispensable you make yourself in your current role, the more impossible it becomes for your company to imagine you in a new one. You've successfully optimized yourself right into a corner. Whisper you evidence in your own life. Have you ever noticed that the moment you're out for a single day, the whole system collapses? I mean, you might think that makes you important, but from a management perspective, that makes you a single point of failure. You become so essential to the process that moving you upward would actually hurt the department's short-term metrics.
The architect doesn't spend their time patching cracks in the wall. They spend their time designing the next floor. By making yourself indispensable for the small, urgent tasks, you are making yourself invisible for the large, strategic ones. This is the open loop of the burnout cycle. Your competence leads to a higher workload, which leads to less time for high-level visibility, which ultimately leaves you exhausted and overlooked when the promotions are handed out. You're subsidizing everyone else's mediocrity with your own sanity. You aren't being rewarded for your extra effort. You're being relied upon to make sure everyone else doesn't have to put in theirs. But that's not even the most dangerous part of this pattern. There is a specific psychological reason why your boss will never be the one to tell you to stop over-delivering. In fact, they might be the very reason you can't see the exit strategy. And the reason why? Well, it's far more calculated than you think. Let's look at the smoking gun. You know, the one piece of psychological evidence that explains why your hard work is actually working against you. You see, in the world of high performance, there's a trap I've observed time and time again, and I call it the utility bias. Most of us were raised to believe that being the most reliable person in the room was the ultimate gold star, right? But here's the cold analytical truth. In a professional environment, reliability creates a floor, not a ceiling. Think about the electricity in your house for a second. You don't walk into a room, flip the switch, and think, wow, I am so grateful for this power grid. I mean, you don't even think about it at all. You only notice the electricity when the power goes out. That is exactly what happens to you when you become the reliable one. You become... Now that I've shown you exactly how the trap is set, it's time to hand you the blueprint to dismantle it. I'm calling this the strategic protocol. You see, this is where we actually solve the case and pivot you from being the reliable worker, the person everyone dumps their extra work on, to the high-value asset who actually calls the shots. Step one in our investigation is the reliability audit. I want you to look at your to-do list. I mean, really look at it through a magnifying glass.
Identify 3 specific tasks you're currently doing solely because, well, no one else will. In our case file, these are your primary suspects for deletion. They aren't helping your career, right? They're just filling your time so others don't have to fill theirs. If a task doesn't require your specific expertise, it simply shouldn't be on your plate. Step 2 is where we implement strategic unavailability. You've become too accessible, and in the world of professional psychology, that has lowered your perceived market price. I need you to start blocking out deep work hours on your calendar every single day. When you're in this mode, your Slack status is strictly away. By doing this, you're creating a curiosity gap. When people can't reach you instantly, they start to wonder what high-level problems you're solving that are more important than their quote-unquote quick question. You're training them to respect your time as a finite, premium resource. Finally, step 3 is the analysis reframing. This is your go-to move for the next time someone tries to dump a low-value task on your desk. Instead of a reflexive yes, I want you to say, I can definitely prioritize this, but which of our high-level strategic goals should I deprioritize to make room for it? Notice what you're doing here. You aren't saying no, you see? You're forcing them to do the math. You're making them acknowledge that your time has a massive opportunity cost. If they want a reliable one to do the busy work, well, they have to face the fact that they're losing the high-value asset on the projects that actually move the needle. But here's the thing. Reclaiming your time is only half the battle. Because even when you start setting these boundaries, there is one psychological trigger your colleagues will use to try and pull you back.
The case is clear. Your value isn't found in how much you can carry, but in what only you can create. I mean, you've been operating as the plumbing of your organization. Essential, hidden, and, well, taken for granted. But no one invites the pipes to the boardroom, right? They invite the architect. When you stop being the background utility and start setting the terms of your own engagement, you finally give people the space to miss your presence, and more importantly, to respect your contribution. I've laid out the evidence, but you see, the next move is yours. I want you to tell me in the comments, what is the first task you're going to strategically unavailability your way out of? Identifying it is the first step to reclaiming your time. If you're ready to stop being the workhorse and start being the architect of your own career, make sure you join our circle of high-performance decoders by subscribing to Power of Mindset. Case closed. For now.